right now it's just talk. There's really nothing we can do. We're kind of handcuffed with the situation. But I mean, I felt what I took from it. McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and Saquon all had a lot of good points. But the biggest thing is that we're in a position that our production hurts us the most. If we go out there and run for 2,000 yards with so many carries, the next year they're gonna say, you're probably worn down. That's the biggest thing that I took from it. It's just, it's tough. It hurts us just to go out there and do good. It hurts us at the end of the day. I think we're in a position that matters. Like, you can see receivers who have been hurt, and it's never a situation of they're been hurt, injury prone or anything. They only say that with running backs, and I don't think that's fair for us.
Why do you feel like they do it for you guys, but they don't do it for offensive linemen or receivers?
Because of the because they say we get hit every play, and we're more injury prone when we're all on the field doing the same thing. But only that applies to us, And I mean, I would say if we're taking the most risk and doing the most, then we should be valued more.
Look, man, sometimes you just gotta vent. I get it. Sometimes you just need to vent. Sometimes you need a group therapy session. You need to get with your people that understand you. You gotta make some phone calls. You gotta call some people that understand where you're coming from. You need to commiserate with some folks. I get it. But this ain't going nowhere. And I'm going to start here, Michael. It's been a while since I saw you, but I'm going to start with a good old-fashioned I told you so. Because I distinctly remember a conversation with first me and you, then you got Jim Trotter, Hall of Famer Jim Trotter on your side, when Austin Eckler first requested his trade. And I'm like, he ain't going nowhere. Because it's cold out here for running backs. It's hard out here for a pimp and running backs. And I said, ain't nobody trading for Austin Eckler. Because, they're not giving up draft picks for Austin Eckler. Undrafted, once upon a time, Austin Eckler, by the way. And obviously the Chargers had a lot to do with that. Their asking price is going to be high. But B, wasn't nobody giving him the contract that he wanted, elsewhere, that the Chargers weren't willing to give him because of the nature of the position. And you and Jim Trotter like, oh my God, Michael, how dare you disrespect the productivity of Austin Eckler.
Yeah, you did.
These special running backs.
You did.
Don't shoot the messenger. But you did. Or did I just, or you just shooting the messenger? I didn't,
Did he get a salary
I
bump,
didn't
by the way?
say anything.
Did he get a salary bump? He did get a salary bump.
He might have.
No, he did. No, he did. He did.
Some incentives attached. But I'm saying, is he still going to be a free agent next year? Yes, he will. Because they come and go. This cycle. All I did was tell you what the game was. See, y'all wanted to be one way, but it's the other way. I'm just telling y'all what the game was. And the game is the game always. And the NFL continues to tell running backs what it is. And I need you to tell me what you mean by the running back revolution will be televised.
Will be televised.
And this
will be televised.
Zoom over the weekend is the launching point. Where is this going? I know Josh Jacobs went home. I know Saquon Barkley is going on podcasts saying I could say F it. He's talking a good game when there's no checks on the line. I get that. But, where is this going in your mind? Because I don't think they're going anywhere other than where the rest of these running backs go, unfortunately. Because that's the name of the game when it comes to this position. But enlighten me, Michael. Where is this going?
Okay. I'm just going to tell you this. You will not be able to stay home, brother, because the revolution will be televised. It will. It will. Look, I'm telling you this. This is a start. Michael, first of all, I'm disappointed in you. Can I just tell you, I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in your position. Michael, if you wanted to get more money from Peacock and you decided that you were going to say something. Okay, here we go. You decided, you know what? I'm not, I just thought of something, but you've already done it. I was going to say, you decided you didn't want to do brother from another.
Wait a minute. Hold on, man. Hold on. Now you're going too far. Now you're going too far.
I didn't do that on purpose. Anyway, but let's say.
Because at a certain point, you could have decided that you weren't going to say what you were thinking. It's called an inner monologue. You could have just laughed and been like,
I could have laughed. Okay. No, I had to get that out. But you don't know. If we decide together, hey, we don't want to take this anymore. We think we know what will happen. We think we know that Peacock, NBC will just move on to the next one. but you don't know until you push back. And I think these running backs are onto something because they have finally decided that the first step, when you've got a problem in the workplace with your employer or the system, all of y'all need to get on the same page, all need to talk about it, collectively diagnose, decide what the problem is, and even if you don't know what you're gonna do about it initially, you've taken the first step. So this is a very important step for the running backs, and I think this issue, Michael, can be collectively bargained. That's the number one problem. There's no way in hell that the franchise number for running backs should be in the same vicinity, or you're in the same grouping as punters and kickers. Sorry. So I think it's on the leadership, it's on NFLPA leadership to do something about it. It's on the players to push back. Pushing back leads to results. Now, in the very small case of Austin Eckler, he got more money. He didn't get a huge contract. He didn't get a 5-year contract. He didn't get $40 million guaranteed. But he got more money than he had before he spoke up. He spoke up, he got a little bit more money. And I think if these players stay on the same page and keep pushing, good things are going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen for you.
Okay, hold on. Just to be clear, okay? $2 million in incentives were added to his deal. So he didn't get it wasn't like here's some money. It was $2 million in incentives, performance-based incentives added to his deal. Just for clarity, it's not nothing, but it's not like, it's not like he got that, not like he got a check. A check didn't come in the mail. What you just described, Michael, sounds like a union. A union that for years has eaten shit and liked it. Yes.
Been weak.
Okay? Because you know why? Because of the short shelf life for all NFL players and their inability to withhold their services in the form of a strike because they're not about that losing money life. So the reason why there is no solution that I've heard so far to this quote-unquote problem, the plight of the running back, is because none of it makes sense for those individual running backs. They can't fake an injury because somebody else is waiting to take your job. They can't collectively strike because they got to make money. The franchise tag and the calculation for said franchise tag is what it is. And it's the most captain obvious point that I can make.
No, it ain't.
It's the average of the top 5.
What it is.
No, it is. It's the average of the top 5 salaries. So if the teams aren't paying running backs commensurate with quarterbacks or wide receivers, the math is just gone math. And the franchise number is just not going to grow with the cap and with the other positions because they're not paying running backs that much.
Look at that.
Okay?
Special team.
But this is what I'm saying. Here's the most obvious thing when it comes to Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs. Tony Pollard signed his, but Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs in the franchise tender. Here's the most obvious thing. It's not as though the Giants and Raiders, respectively, are saying, we don't want you on the team beyond this year. They're saying, we want you at our price. Whereas Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs, as is their right, they're saying this deal isn't good enough. So these guys will be signed, sealed, and delivered. No, what I'm saying is let's not act as though NFL teams do not want running backs, Derrick Henry, on the roster at all. They don't want running backs at a certain number, both in terms of years and guaranteed dollars. Saquon, there's a deal. If Saquon Barkley wanted to take the deal that the Giants were offering, he would, but it's his right not to take it if he thinks he's underpaid.
Right.
Same with Josh Jacobs. It's not as though they're saying, nah, man, we don't really want you on the team at all beyond this year. They just have terms that they want to attach to the contract that Josh Jacobs deems unsatisfactory. Okay? All I'm simply saying is there's nothing these dudes can do about it because it's the nature of the game. You know what they can do about it? Like Mark Ingram just said, when they're little, pick a different position. And as a matter of fact, if I could mix footballs for a second, to hell with playing running back, go be a center back, go be a midfielder, go be a forward. Because the Saudis out here giving Kylian Mbappé $1 billion to transfer. Side note, go make $700 million, I beg your pardon, for 1 year if you really want to do something about it. But in terms of changing the evolution of the game, Michael, there are no new things under the sun. Okay? I said this the other day. Bill Parcells talked about not taking a running back before the 4th round. Running backs rarely go in the 1st round this year, notwithstanding when 2 win the top 12.
Right.
They rarely
That's
go in
right.
the 1st round nowadays. They've gone away from workhorse running backs to committees. This is an inevitability when it comes to the evolution of a passing league.
Except they're not. And this is what bothers me, though. This is what bothers me about it. You're right and you're wrong. You're right and you're wrong. I'd say a lot of teams are going to committees. A lot of teams don't take running backs in the 1st round. But the 2 guys that you just mentioned, not only were both of them 1st-round running backs, Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs. 2, both of them are workhorse backs. 3, if they both decide to sit out, let's see how the Giants do. Go ahead. Oh, we can get a running back anywhere. Plug and play. Oh, hey. Okay. If Saquon Barkley is not with the Giants this year, Brian Daboll, now you're gonna get the season
I don't think anybody doubts.
We expected last year.
But nobody doubts that the Giants. But no, nobody doubts that the Giants are better with Saquon Barkley. There's no
you better
question about that.
put some zeros on there. Put some zeros on the contract.
Devontae
Add some
Adams just said the
zeros.
same thing about the Raiders with Josh Jacobs. And one of Barkley's teammates came to his defense, said, "Hey, we get it. It would be no hard feelings if he decided to sit out. But the economics of the sport dictate that you do not. For every Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley, I give you Ezekiel Elliott. Ask the Dallas Cowboys how they felt about Ezekiel Elliott's contract not long after he signed it. Very rare. The Derrick Henrys of the world, those dudes are aliens. Nick Chubb even, those dudes are aliens. The economics of the sport dictate that you do not give long-term guarantee money to running backs after their rookie contracts. You tag them. It's harsh, but it's true. It's facts.
Hey, listen.
It's history.
Listen.
It's math.
Okay.
So what are they supposed to do about it?
Listen. I don't want to hear you talking about Adam Smith and economic theory. I don't want to hear that, okay? If you think it's all about...
I'm talking about team building.
Okay, you think about team building, and it's just the way it goes. It's not the way it goes in these specific cases of the Giants and Raiders. If you're the Giants, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. You can't say, we value you. We're not the same kind of offense without you. But, hey, it's the system. Oh, I can't help it. It's the way the environment is. No. But we're talking about you and me. This is between you and me. I'm Saquon Barkley. You're the New York Giants. We made the playoffs last year because I rushed for 1,300 yards. I caught the ball for, X amount, about 50 balls last year, some more touchdowns. I'm an integral part of what we do. And if I'm not here, we're not the same. So I don't want you to tell me about your view on the running back position. I want you to pay me. And if you're not going to pay me, I fully support him sitting out. Sit out.
No, I do too.
Josh,
I do too.
Sit out.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do is sit out. But Mike, I think we're having simultaneous conversations. Like you know, I'm a pro labor guy, but I'm more so a pro logic guy than a pro labor guy. I'm more pro logic than labor. If you're specifically, like you just did, Michael, pointing to the NFL's leading rusher in Josh Jacobs last year, and a guy who, when healthy, is a transcendent, talented running back in Saquon Barkley, the heartbeat of that offense, you're specifically talking about their particular plights. No argument, no lies detected, as they say. What I'm talking about is this running back revolution that ain't happening, okay? Because the position, because these guys getting on this Zoom, these elite running backs on these Zoom, your Christian McCaffreys and whatnot on these Zooms, they are the exceptions. And you're right, you make exceptions for exceptional people. But by and large, the running back position, no, you do not invest long-term big money in running backs because history tells you that you will quickly get diminishing returns on that investment.
I just disagree with that. I feel like I think there are exceptions. In every case, there are exceptions. So I just saw, and this is great, I hadn't really paid attention to it. I just saw, you probably saw it a while ago, Marcus Allen, Football Life. And, you mean to tell me.
Those series in general are great.
They are great. And it was, so if I'm just following these NFL team builders, to a team building,
Yeah,
we
the
used to know
people
a guy.
you wrote books on. The people you wrote books on. That's what I'm talking about. These are the team builders. Yeah.
I know.
The people who built your house. Yes. The people whose draft rooms you are in. Why do I have to educate you, Mr. New York Times bestseller? Are you just being contrarian? Are you just being contrarian?
No, I'm not.
What you're doing?
But Michael, I'm not. Tell me this. If Marcus Allen, I think he was drafted 10th. I think he was drafted 10th back in the day.
Yeah,
if Marcus Allen is available, if you just know, hey, this guy reminds me of Marcus Allen. Because it's not wise, because it's not prudent to draft a running back in the first round, you're going to pass on Marcus Allen?
No.
Because that's not what teams do.
Bijan Robinson at number 8, even though they had a rookie 1,000-yard rusher. They just drafted
in some cases,
because they're weapons.
In some cases, you can find. In some cases, you can find a guy. But I hate just a blanket statement about the position. Hey, it's not smart to draft a running back in the first or second round. I don't like what Bill Parcells said. Don't draft him before the first. I don't like that.
Nick Chubb really just said it. Their production starts early and it works against them. We talk about running backs come out of college. How many carries on them? How many miles are on them, so to speak? It's like, look, man, I'm sorry. That position in particular has always had the shortest shelf life throughout NFL history. They've always had the shortest shelf life. They don't last very long. It is what it is. Michael, let me ask you a question because I want to pivot to a related topic and get your take on this and just your take because I'm struggling with it myself. I'll probably have something to say about it. Number one, it's interesting. I would love to know what Bill Belichick would say about this given how he's treated the running back position over the years. But we have heard a certain Dalvin Cook, who we'll talk about later, associated with the Patriots, who have a guy at Ramondre Stevenson, but here's the other thing. They say you don't want to pay him, but you need a lot of them, right? Because of that committee thing. But what I really want to get from you is I've been hearing, I know you've been hearing it, I've been hearing this smoke, and I want to know if there's fire where there's smoke about Bill Belichick being on the hot seat. That just feels like the biggest life comes at you fast that I've ever heard, but I wonder if there is fire there because there seems to be some tension, some friction between Belichick and his boss. Educate me, brother.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I know, Robert Kraft is very savvy at understanding what, especially people in Boston. He's a Boston guy, grew up in Brookline, for those who don't know, that's like 1 mile away from Boston. And Brookline and Boston pretty much the same, okay? So he's a Brookline guy. He's a lifelong New Englander. He loves sports. He loves the fans. He loves the attention. But you know what Michael, Robert Smith really likes? He likes stars. He really likes stars. And so he's not going to be the guy. Bottom line. Play this back. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. He is not going to be known as the guy who let Tom Brady walk out the door and who fired Bill Belichick. Not going to happen. He made his decision.
So even if they miss the playoffs this year, because they might be the worst team in the AFC East. Even if they make the playoffs this year, they're not getting fired.
Even if they miss the playoffs, no, because I don't think so. Because he keeps saying all these things. Hey, I'd like to get back to the playoffs. I want to see what we do here. All these things, but nothing really has changed for Belichick. Belichick hasn't lost anything. What has he lost? Like Kraft says the right things, but he hasn't taken any. He hasn't taken what is he? He hasn't taken anything away from Bill Belichick.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't taken anything away.
In terms of his authority? You mean in terms of his authority?
How about
he still
this?
runs the operation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, so last year, Bill made a very, very dubious, just really stupid. Not dubious.
Well, that's what I was referencing.
It was stupid.
When I say credibility, I was referencing his choice of offensive coordinator or coordinators, as it were. Yeah.
He turned his offense over to Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. And so Robert Kraft made him, sounds good, sounds loud. It's like Sawatsky, Mike. Sounds like a tough question because I say it loud. I'm going to make you hire an offensive coordinator. Who's he hire? A guy he introduced to the NFL. Bill O'Brien didn't know anything about the NFL until Bill Belichick brought him in, tutored him, nurtured him, sent him on his way. So even the guy he was forced to bring back was one of his guys. Adrian Clem brought in his offensive lineman. He drafted him. He's got his kid on the staff. I mean, so everything is still comfortable for him. Don't worry about it. There's smoke. There's smoke, but there's no fire.
So you're saying it's a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing, kind of like these running backs complaining. Listen, man, I ain't nothing worse than being underpaid. Okay?
I thought we were off it.
Ain't nothing worse than
I
being
thought we
underpaid.
moved on to another topic.
But like, what you gonna do about it? Like, I mean, you gonna not play? You gonna not play? Because they got 1 million of y'all. That's the point. They cycle through y'all.
But you just did.
They can scheme.
I know what you just did. See, you did that wide 9. You lined up wide 9, and you came around. You looped around.
They gave you that Reggie White head slap.
That ain't right. I thought we had moved on.
Like, how close are you to signing with the team?
At this moment, it's kind of just taking my time and being patient with the process. You can't rush this. This is a life decision that can, put me in a great predicament for my future. So I'm just taking my time and I'm not rushing it. And, when I make that decision, it's going to be right for me and my family.
Mike Jones, Reeta, Dalvin Cook said it's a light decision. I wonder how much of it is actually his decision, given the so-called plight of running backs that we've been discussing ad nauseum the last couple of weeks. Matter of fact, last week I talked to both of you guys about it. Michael Holley's back, and he still ain't seen the light when it comes to the reality of the situation here. Since we last talked, Mike Jones, running backs and that little Zoom and whatnot, and they're trying to come up with solutions to what I don't really think is that much of a problem. And here's my issue with some of the solutions, Mike Jones. If you take the running backs and they kind of form their own union or a performance-based fund for running backs, or we adjust the compensation model for running backs, like, are they football players or not? What's to stop every other position group and every other player from being like, well, hold on for a second. Let's reevaluate how we're paid, how we're compensated, how we're viewed. Honestly, and this sounds harsh, Mike Jones, it's kind of just like tough shit. It's a tough position. It's a tough job. But it's kind of tough shit when it comes to running backs at this point. What say you?
No, I agree with you. I've been blowing up the phones, texting, all things, talked to longtime NFL veterans, guys who used to be in leadership on the NFL Players Association, and they're like, dude, they were on the calls. When we agreed to the CBA, they saw the figures for what the franchise tag was. They agreed to it. It's not like they just all of a sudden found out that, the numbers aren't going up for the running back for the franchise tag. So they can have Zooms, but they're not going to be able to change anything unless they all agree that if we get franchise tagged, we have a hold-in type of situation and we're not going to play. But otherwise, they really can't do anything. They need to get with their agents and find a way to negotiate and have more leverage. But this CBA is not going to change for a long time. And they either didn't pay attention when they had the chance to vote against this CBA, or they didn't have the foresight to make sure they didn't get in this type of situation.
Reeta, what's the solution there, Reeta? Like, help us make this meeting, help them make this Zoom meeting more meaningful. What's the solution to their so-called problem?
That's a good question. I mean, you made a valid point that if they break off from the union and try to create their own, it probably creates a domino effect for other positions as well. And so that's not going to help anybody. And as you guys have already mentioned, the CBA is what it is. I believe it's till 2030. One thing I do remember, though, about this current CBA, it didn't get overwhelmingly passed, and it barely passed by the skin of its teeth the last time I can recall, which tells me that people did read it and didn't like it. However, they just didn't have enough votes to go against it and try all over again. So that's where the problem therein lies, right? You probably got guys didn't like the terms, but unfortunately their counterparts did, and so now they're in this position. So I agree that the agents are probably the best way to do it, and then try to figure out a way for upcoming running backs coming in to try to help change the narrative, because I think for guys that are currently playing, there's not much you can really do in this situation. You're stuck in a CBA that you don't like. You really don't have any leverage. Yeah, 7 more years. So I don't think that this particular group of guys can do anything. I think where it really lies is to the future guys that potentially are coming in, and they could possibly make a difference into what the running backs are, what they believe they should be receiving.
Sounds like you guys really don't want to fight City Hall. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not about trolling. It's not about trolling, Mike.
How? What's the how? I'm not saying I'll fight City Hall. I'm saying what's the solution?
I'll tell you
what's
this.
the how? What's your plan?
Yeah, I don't know if it's
strategize,
if it's solution.
organize, mobilize.
Here we go.
Right.
Here's something you could do just to bring attention, because part of it is you need allies. Like what you described, Mike, that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing. That's the worst thing for running backs, for them to break off and then to have other positions saying, well, we're going to do the same thing. No. You want somebody to hear your story and to feel sorry for you a little bit and to fight for you. And the reason that could happen is because we saw those numbers. You put those numbers up again, Gary, where the franchise numbers, we have $5 million on special teams. And then it's $10 million on running backs. And I think the next closest position is what, 14? It's $14 million. So there's like a pretty good gap. I'll feel sorry for you because I'm making more money than you are. So I'm trying to help you out. It's not like,
and you're not taking money from somebody else to put it in their pockets either.
Right.
There it is. Look at it. Oh, I'm sorry. Safety, tight end, then safeties. So tight end.
Who's giving money to running backs? Who's giving their piece of the pie to running backs? Because we feel sorry for you.
Daniel Jones should give his money. I know one person that should. Daniel Jones should.
Here's a two-tiered solution here, I guess, or a two-tiered progression. I don't know if it's a solution, but it just kind of inches us forward a little bit. And one of them is the top guys taking a hit. Like it is Saquon Barkley, it's Nick Chubb, it's Josh Jacobs saying, I'm not going to give you my services. I'm just not going to do it. Okay. They all stand together in solidarity.
That sounds good, Mike. That's cutting off your nose to bite your face.
I got you. I got you. It's not perfect. But here's the other one. And Mike, and you tell me about this. One day, they all decide one day, could be week 3, week 5. All the running backs say, you know what? We ain't playing. Right? We're not playing.
All right.
We're not going to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
One game. We're not going to play.
But here's the problem. They couldn't get these guys. Unified enough to withstand the last CBA, because there were guys who were worried about not getting their paycheck. So they were like, look, we need to get back on the field. We're not going to drag this lockout any further than that. You're not going to get these running backs to all agree like that. And here's also the problem. If you sit out, running backs are a dime a dozen. You are opening the door for the next guy to come in here who is a mid-round draft pick and come in here and show that, actually, we can win with this guy too.
Oh, I hate that so much.
Because you don't need
that.
Right. Because you don't need a running back as much as you need a running game. You got to move on though.
Mike Smith.
I just realized something.
Before that, I'm going to say this real quick. Mike Smith, let's say this real quick. Keep that in mind when you're drafting your dynasty and your fantasy football. Don't worry about it. Whoever, just draft any running back, Mike, and you'll win the league. Don't worry about it, baby. Don't worry about it.
I invented zero running back, but that's a discussion for a different show. This is my first show in my entire career. I realized this today. In my entire career, this is the first television program or streaming program, whatever, podcast, whatever, in which Daniel Snyder has not been the owner of the Washington professional football franchise. This is like, it's like, ADS.
You just not gonna call them by their name, though. You just not gonna call them. They have a name. You don't like it.
Well,
for how much longer?
But it's also changed so many times. The name of the team he used to own, I didn't want to say it, and now it's something else. So I just decided to go generic. Mike Jones, though, Jerry Jones said, "Oh, this is a great day for the NFL." Can you put into context just what you've heard from talking to people since the sale went through, since it actually happened, and Josh Harris and Magic Johnson are now at the helm of one of the most storied and supported, despite all the dysfunction, franchises in the NFL. Last in attendance, worst stadium situation, but people love that team. And after you, Mike Jones, Reeta, that's your backyard. You can speak to what this means as well. Go ahead, Mike.
No, it is a good thing for the NFL because, look, remember, when they want to see the stadiums packed because everybody gets a slice of the pie. And so you think that the NFL,
unless Daniel Snyder withholds
hated it. Right. And so now they don't have to worry about that happening. they don't have to worry about empty seats and everything like that. And so the revenue is going to go up. They know that the NFL's in better shape when Washington football is healthy because the rivalries are there, the revenue is there, you're drawing the fans, and then you don't have this black eye, which is what Daniel Snyder was professionally, personally, financially for the NFL. So it is a great day for them, and they are rooting for Josh Harris and Magic Johnson to turn this thing around and make them a successful threat in the NFC, because that's just better for business for everybody.
Second best team in the Beltway, though, still, right, Rita? They're still the second best team in the Beltway.
Absolutely. Now, come on now. You already know what that is. We ain't even in that Beltway, though. Let's be clear. We $6.95 over here, and they $4.95, so that's different. However, what I will say is I agree with Mike in the sense of that, look, they're in the NFC East, right? I mean, those 4 teams are historically franchises, you know what I mean? And so they're extremely popular. The rivalries are very popular. People that are just casual NFL fans always tune into those types of rivalries, the Washington team and the Cowboys, the Giants and the Eagles. So we look forward to those games. And so for Washington to be as bad as they've been over the past couple of years, it just lost some luster. It allowed, teams, fans of other teams to come into their stadium and take over, something that I personally have never witnessed before until the past couple of years. So it's nice to have something fresh and something new. And like Mike said, this is a revenue thing as well. I'm sure the owners are thrilled about the fact that we have some ownership that's going to actually care about the product that's put on the field. They're not going to treat this franchise just like their little toy, something to do because they're bored. They're invested in winning and trying to be a championship team, which therein really affects the rest of the NFL in a nutshell.
Michael, you had in your feed, it actually happened. Have you processed that it's real?
It really is
actually there.
I was just waiting. I was waiting for some kind of snag, some kind of delay.
It can't be
Maybe
real.
Somebody,
this can't actually be happening.
Somebody came to his defense. But I'll tell you, the underrated part of this thing is the headline that it was unanimously approved. I mean, Daniel Snyder, in the end,
they don't agree on
you
nothing.
want to talk about, I'm going to say,
no abstaining, no nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there was nobody who said, I abstain. There wasn't this boy saying, you know what, he was all right for us. Everybody.
I don't like Magic Johnson. I'm a Larry Bird guy. No, thank you.
But you know what this really is like, though? This is like it really is like an expansion situation. I'm happy. In all seriousness, I'm happy for DC. They had to deal with this because they had. Think about when Snyder took over the team. They thought it would be a completely different experience. He hasn't changed all that much, but because he was a Washington fan and he loved Joe Gibbs and all that stuff, when he bought the team, there was optimism that somebody who really cared about the franchise was going to turn this thing around.
Right.
And it has descended. Every year it's gotten worse and worse. He brings in another layer of just awfulness. And so I'm glad that they are able,
playoff appearances, right?
nearly a quarter century of this. So I'm happy at Washington. Welcome to the NFL again. I'm sure with all this passion and all this enthusiasm, I wouldn't be surprised if Washington in the next couple of years does some positive things because it's almost like they've been on the outside of the NFL for 25 years.
Yeah, and I will say this. I grew up in the area. Look, when he bought the team and the first thing he did was to start hanging out with Jerry Jones, there were concerns. We were like, this guy wants to be friends with the Cowboys? No, you can't be friends with the Cowboys. So not surprised it went terrible. But look at Josh Harris and what he did, taking over the 76ers, turning them around, making them one of the premier teams in the NBA's Eastern Conference. That's what Washington fans have. They can look at that track record and have hope that, okay, it can't get any worse, and hopefully it's much better.
There's nowhere to go but up. I want to talk about another perennial laughing stock that not the Commanders, but the Jets have the longest, I believe, active postseason drought in North American professional team sports.
Yep.
Does that drought end this year, Rita? Because, I mean, listen, I know it's training camp. I know ain't nobody hitting. But like I listen, watching Aaron Rodgers hook up with another 17 in the back of the end zone, I'm like, listen, the hype might just be real in New York. And that's a damn tough division, man. Miami's a playoff team from last year. We know what Buffalo got. Patriots will have their say in some way, shape, or form. But this team looked like it's finally got it all. Even a few running backs. Reeta.
I mean, listen, the Jets have all of the things in place, right? They have the quarterback situation. They have the running back situation. They have good wide receivers. Their secondary is good. So they have all the things in place. But you already mentioned they're in a division that's going to be really good with Buffalo and Miami. Sorry, Holley, I'm not going to mention the Patriots, but it is what it is. I mean, Bill Belichick is there, right? But the AFC
right.
The AFC in general is a gauntlet. I mean, you still have the AFC North that has the Ravens, that has the Bengals. Oh, yeah, the Browns have done some changes this year, and Deshaun Watson should be playing for a first full season bearing injury. You have the Jaguars, who's getting a wide receiver back that they didn't even have last year, and it's going to be a big weapon for them. You still have the Chiefs. I mean, the Chargers, if you really want to bring them up. There's so many teams in the AFC that are really destined to be something good, and everybody's just going to beat each other up. And the question is going to be, number one, is Aaron Rodgers going to be able to sustain that, because he's older? I mean, he's somewhere close to my age at this point playing football. And so are you going to be able to sustain that? Because the Jets are really going to have to rely on him in order for their success to be, to come to fruition. But the AFC is just so deep. I want to say yes, but then when you start looking at all the other teams, I just don't know if that's possible.
I like it. I like where she's going. Mike Jones, what do you think?
No, I agree with her. I don't see how they get past the Bills. I don't see how they get past the Dolphins. Well, if Tua is healthy, they might not even get past Bill Belichick and the Patriots. With that defense and the offense being better now. It takes time.
Do you trust Mac Jones, Mike? Do you trust Mac Jones? I need to know.
Bill O'Brien. It's better than what he was working with. If anybody can get him back on track, his regression was not because of Mac Jones. That was because he had Matt Patricia, who's a disaster, who was running the offense. But it takes time. Yes, we saw Tom Brady come in there in Tampa Bay and win a Super Bowl right away, but that was a veteran team that was ready to win. This is a young team that's still on the come up, and so it's going to take a little bit of time. Yeah, it doesn't just happen just because we saw those teams do it. It doesn't mean Aaron Rodgers is going to as well.
Yeah. Since we were talking about bad owners, we were talking about Daniel Snyder. Look, the Jets' ownership is not great either, and I think they have kind of sold everyone a narrative that is just false. And it started last year when they said, the New York Jets owner said, hey, we're great. We got everything great. All we need is a quarterback. Excuse me? All you need is a quarterback? You haven't made the playoffs, as you mentioned, Mike. They haven't made the playoffs in a dozen years.
Yeah. And
you're only missing a quarterback? No, you're missing a lot more than a quarterback. The Jets need a cultural flip over. No. It's in the dirt, man. It's in the walls. It's in the soil.
Short of selling the team, the GM and the head coach seem like they know that they got their shit together. I think Robert Saleh has done what you're talking about, Michael, in terms of a culture. Yeah. Bro, do you realize how much they were being held back by that position last year? At one point, weren't they like 6-2?
Okay.
Did you watch Zach Wilson last year?
So I watched the whole season. They were 6-2. You're right. At one point, Michael, they were 7-4. They were 7-4, and they lost 6 straight games. But let's put that all on the quarterback. Let's pretend like the quarterback was the only problem we had last year. Let's pretend that we have a championship-ready defense. When I will point out to you, Reeta, you don't want to mention the Patriots? The Patriots, nobody said the Patriots had a championship-level defense. You realize the Jets gave up 30 fewer points. That's it, 30. So about 2 points per game. 2 points per game less than the Patriots.
You're right.
I'm just telling you.
Honestly, they would have made the playoffs if Breece Hall would have been healthy, or they should just have more running backs. If they had more running backs, they didn't need a quarterback. They needed more running backs.
They were a 7-10. They were a 7-10 team last year, and I think Reeta was right on point. It will be an accomplishment if Aaron Rodgers, applaud him if he gets that team to the playoffs. People talking about the Jets in the Super Bowl. I guarantee you that won't happen. They are not a Super Bowl team. They may be a playoff team.
Not in Kansas City or Joe Burrow's conference, as long as Kansas City pays Chris Jones. Last thing
Kansas
before we let you go,
City, Cincinnati, Baltimore,
Last thing before we
Buffalo.
roll the music, Gary. Last thing before we let y'all go. Inbounds or out of bounds for the Tennessee Titans to be flexing in the Houston Oilers throwbacks? It's still too soon for me.
Yeah, I mean they did wear those uniforms for 2 years in Tennessee.
But you left.
Yes, they did.
We get a divorce. We get a divorce. You don't get to wear my ring.
Don't.
You don't get to wear my ring.
I love
Houston.
I love
Oh
them.
my God.
I love them when
That'd be a
Warren
blast.
Moon and Steve McNair and them used to wear them. I don't love them on the Tennessee Titans. You're the
But they
Tennessee
were
Titans.
Tennessee Oilers for 2 years.
I want to see him wear
they
ones at home
shouldn't
and
have
ones
been.
in Houston.
The Texans should be the ones wearing those.
I
They
agree
should be
with
the
that.
ones
That's on the
wearing those
Texans.
I agree
throwbacks.
with that.
Not
They
the
should-
I agree.
Titans.
I agree.
They should
Well, they were
negotiate
the
that.
Tennessee
Hey.
Oilers for 2 years. That did happen.
Hey, Mike.
You can't just act like it didn't happen, friend.
Mike Smith,
That's
Mike
that's
Smith,
because they
and
couldn't
Mike
figure out what
Jones.
the name was gonna be.
Mike Smith and
I
Mike
agree
Jones,
with
like
you.
both of y'all said. It's like both of y'all said, hey, negotiations, you were there. Why wouldn't the Texans kind of negotiate the Oilers into their history? Kind of write that in there. That's a little addendum. You
love
should
it.
have
I
included
would've
that.
loved it.
Yeah, no, I think technically the Titans have that franchise encyclopedia. They have that history.
Okay, so-
And yeah, temporarily when they were nomadic, they were called the Oilers temporarily. But no, you
They
don't get
look
to get
good.
divorced and still keep the ring, still keep my last name. No.
Excuse
Absolutely
me.
not.
I have my
Yeah.
ring. What you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
That's right. Keep that
My
ring.
bad.
It was a gift.
I didn't mean to get.
Hey.
I didn't mean to get personal. I didn't mean to get
That was a
personal.
gift.
You don't wear the
I'm
ring,
keeping
though.
this.
You don't wear it, Rita.
Put Shaq on my team, put LeBron and Bosh with me. I'm not gonna win one. You don't think?
Ooh.
Yeah.
You got your shit on.
You put me, LeBron, and
Isaiah Thomas said.
me, LeBron, and Bosh. We not gonna win one.
Yeah.
Or we not gonna win a couple. Like, who's the better 3-point shooter?
Yeah.
Sure, that's
Yeah.
Is he a better scorer? Is he a better scorer? Okay, he averaged more points than me career. I can shoot the three.
He's
I
a
got the
better
mid-range,
slasher.
I can post up. I can get to the line. Who a better scorer?
See, you know what it is, and I'm totally.
Yeah, it's just he was fancier.
Yeah,
it was just
that's
he was
all I'm
fancier.
saying.
What I'm going to say
Let's
is,
break it down.
Get your mans. Get your mans, dog. Like, I mean, like, why? What is it with him and D Wade? Like, how about you just be happy with your body of work and leave it at that? Okay?
Yeah, right.
Like,
I mean,
you play, you know, just leave it at that. You play with some great players, you know, but and you got a championship. You got a championship. After which he declared, "I'm the best player in the world." You got your championship.
But yeah,
like,
yeah, right.
Let it go.
Finals
Let it go.
MVP, right? Finals
Let it
MVP
go.
in that moment.
Let it go. You're the truth.
And in that moment,
you're
he
the
was.
truth. Right.
Right. In
You're
that
the
moment,
truth.
he was. Just like right.
Let it go.
We agree, right? When you win the Finals
Right.
MVP, you can talk your stuff for a couple of months.
At
over
a
the
certain
summer.
point, but at a certain point,
Yeah.
if you really on that level, Michael, you should be above hypotheticals. Like, I don't know who needs to hear this. But when you get to a certain level, you ain't got to compare yourself to other people based on, well, if I was in his situation. Like, no, like, it's not like it's not like you're not a Hall of Famer. It's not like you don't have, you know, accolades. It's not like you're not recognized as one of the best players of your era. You don't have to compare yourself to D Wade and talk about what you would have done if you was with players. Like, okay, that's not what in the cards for you, Playboy. You got drafted by the Celtics. He got drafted by the Heat. You know, LeBron took his talents to South Beach. You know, after you were standing in the way of LeBron, because y'all started the Big Three era, the modern Big Three era, I should say, the player-led Big Three era. So, like, come on, man, like, let it go. Like, this should be beneath Paul Pierce. But that's your man, though. That's your man.
No, but
and
it's
Paul,
happening.
and Paul,
but hold on.
you cheat at spades too, Paul. He ain't
Hold
watching
on.
this, but Paul know he be cheating at spades too.
He is watching. I'm gonna tell you, it's not beneath him. It's not beneath him. He can be petty, and so this is right on brand. The truth needs to find his peace. Okay, truth needs to find peace.
Set yourself free. Set yourself free. Truth.
Yeah. like Michael, he's got such I never compare myself to Dwyane Wade. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Vincent. No, Vincent, no. It was no. Yes, you did. Who was it? Brad. Brad. Yes, you did, Brad.
Yes, you did, Brad. Yes, you did.
All right. Look, he has got, I think part of it is, Michael, there are two things going on here. One, he once told Jackie McMullen, a famous quote from Paul Pierce. He said, "I'm a great player on a bad team, and it sucks." So they were bad. This is before KG, before Ray Allen. He was great. Nobody was really paying attention to him. It was almost like the Bradley Beal disease. You know, you're balling out, you put up numbers, but your franchise at that point is a little irrelevant, so you don't make all NBA, not even third team all NBA. And you're like, what's up? All these other dudes getting it, and I'm better than they are. So that's one of his problems. But then the other problem is this LeBron obsession. He's been obsessed with LeBron since LeBron was a rookie. As a matter of fact, he went to see LeBron's first game in the summer league. It was at UMass Boston.
Right?
I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
So he went to see LeBron in the summer league. He said he was going to see a guy named Marcus Banks, who only old school NBA fans remember.
Right.
Celtics drafted him. But he's been paying attention to LeBron every step of the way. And so it's this whole LeBron and LeBron's camp thing that gets him turned around. If D Wade had never played with LeBron, this comparison never would have happened. But D Wade is LeBron adjacent, and it drives Paul Pierce crazy.
That's true. Speaking of LeBron, your man Steph Curry.
Yes, I like this.
Some interesting, some compliments that caught your eye. In addition to his all-time top 5, which he left himself off, I appreciate his wisdom and humility. He also spoke about the complicated nature of his relationship with LeBron James. LeBron, once upon a time, showed up to see Steph Curry, much like Paul Pierce showed up to see LeBron. LeBron showed up to see Steph Curry at Davidson. Curry's obviously making the rounds. He got his underrated film out, whatnot. And he talked about how it went from like a mentor to a rival. So it's and a mentor and friend to a rival in a contemporary and whatnot. Why did this jump out to you?
I love this. I love this because I think he's being honest. I don't think this is code for anything else, but this is like the nature of some mentoring relationships. I was just talking to some kids earlier before the show, Michael. I think 25, 26 aspiring journalists, and I was saying to them that you find mentors at different stages of your career, but you are constantly searching for them. So your mentor when you're 19 or 20 is not necessarily your mentor when you're 30 or 31. It could be.
That's fact.
But it changes. And I think what Steph Curry is pointing out is that at one point, LeBron is trying to tell him. LeBron won a championship before Steph did. LeBron is telling him about the league and how to take care of your body. And then it got to the point where the mentee is challenging the mentor and taking things from the mentor really wanted. The mentor really wanted to be a unanimous MVP. He really wanted that. The mentor really wanted when they met in those finals and Steph won 3 out of those 4. Yeah, I mean, I think that really bothered LeBron. And not that they're not on speaking terms anymore, but that relationship has changed. And it is complex. So, it's a perfect word choice.
So I'll just say this and then we'll move on. Make sure you tell your students about certain people in this here journalism business who pretend to be mentors up until the point when you start to get on their level. Then, like, everybody eats,
woo!
But you can only have my crumbs and my scraps. I get the big piece of chicken. I ain't gonna go there. We ain't got time for that. But I'm just saying, all mentors ain't what they appear to be. So-called mentors.
But see,
somebody else. We gotta go.
Hold on.
We gotta move.
Real quick.
Okay,
Go ahead.
It's not just journalism. No, not you.
And that's what.
Oh no,
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
There's a rap.
It's not just journalism.
What is it like? Yeah, like friends become rivals. It's life. That's life. That's life.
It's
People
not just
be like
journalism.
everybody eats until you start taking what's on their plate. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
Somebody else who got a problem. Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers has a problem with all you stars being specific with your trade demands. Here's Austin Rivers.
Regardless of how good of a player you are, man, the NBA is not it's a privilege. And if you were a free agent, then you could choose where you were going to go.
Right.
That's the business.
Yeah.
But when you're not and you sign a deal, man, that's part of the business, bro. If you get traded somewhere, like, you got to go play, man. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
And this started with like James and Ben and all these guys doing this shit. It's bad for the league. This is why our CBA deal that we just signed, and I don't even want to get heavy into that. That thing is, don't even get me started on that deal. It's a scary dynamic when stars start acting like this. And I'm not a big fan of it. I got to be honest with you. And I'm a big fan of Damian. Everyone knows. I mean, I've had so many battles with him. I've been in many playoff series against Damian, and he's probably one of the hardest players I've ever had to guard in my entire life. Everyone knows the clip where I had to like pray to God when he missed that shot, because that's how good he is, man. Like, you just got to hope he misses sometimes. But I don't like when stars do that, because it's just like, what does every other player do? So because you're a good player, like, you just don't have to show up?
So James Harden has had cryptic social media messages, stories, IG stories. He scrubbed his social media of all things Sixers. Meanwhile, Damian Lillard sits in limbo. And honestly, Michael, real quick, this is all I've been saying about the Lillard situation is like, he requested a trade. There never no trade clause specifically to Miami. If they don't acquiesce to that request, what is his alternative? You only have, your leverage is only as strong as your alternatives. I can't say, yo, I quit and I ain't got another job. Same with James Harden. If they don't trade you to the Clippers, what you gonna do? What say you?
I agree.
Before we go to break.
I agree with Austin Rivers. I was waiting because I kind of wanted to disagree with him, just because he's like an annoying player. He's an annoying player. No, he's an annoying player, but he's right.
I think I do disagree that it's bad for the league. I think it's great for the league.
100% right.
Because we love talking about it. I told you what the running back solution is. Be a center back, be a midfielder, be a forward. Giannis, see what the Saudi team is offering Mbappé? $700 million for 1 year? A $300 million transfer fee? And he does look like Mbappé. Minus about
I love
4
Mbappé.
feet.
Have you watched him though? Have you watched Mbappé? It's incredible. Love it. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.